Well, this week on 831 Living Your Best Life, I will introduce you to people that inspired me to live my best life. And today's podcast is one of my favorite examples of living your best life. He was born in Budapest, January 21st, 1910, and joined the Hungarian army. In 1936, he was a world-class pistol shooter, but denied a chance to compete in the 1936 games because he was not a commissioned officer. Hungary changed that so that he could be in the 1940 Olympics. He expected to compete in the 1940 Tokyo Olympic Games. However, his right hand was crippled when a faulty grenade exploded during training in 1938. His dream of competing in the Olympic Games was shattered. His name? Károly Takács. I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and you're listening to 831 Living Your Best Life, where we inspire participation, communicate precision, and empower performers to podium. And we hope you will tell your friends and relatives and those people that you are connected to go to their favorite podcast provider and download, subscribe, like, rate, do whatever you have to do. You can even listen to us on YouTube, and you can even find me on my website, junglejimhunter.com, and become an 831er and help other people live their best life. Well, Károly Takács spent months recovering. He hid. He was broken. And one morning grabbed his pistol and stormed out the back door into the woods behind his home. His wife chased after him, fearing the worst, and slipped and fell on the wet grass, hearing a shot. She cried and screamed his name and yelled, "No, no, no, Károly!" Then heard a second shot. What? Did he miss? She followed the shots and found Károly practicing with his non-dominant left hand. For months he practiced alone, shared it with no one, told no one. And then he showed up at the 1939 Hungarian Pistol Championships and was consoled by shooters that knew him. They were happy to see him. The event began and people noticed he was entered thinking he would attempt to shoot with his mangled right hand. Instead, he picked up his pistol with the left hand, and every shot hit the bullseye, winning the event. The Olympic Games in Tokyo were within reach, then canceled because of World War II. The 1944 Games were also canceled as well, and his dream of gold would have to wait for the 1948 Games held in London. By 1948, Károly was 38 and no longer considered a favorite to win. The reigning world champion asked Károly what he was there for. Károly said, "I am here to learn." Károly not only won, but set a world record in the rapid-fire pistol event. As he received his medal and stood on the podium, the previous champion congratulated Takács and said, "You have learned enough." Károly maintained his routine and practiced, and 4 years later, in the 1952 Helsinki Games, won gold again. Károly Takács was the third athlete with a disability to compete in the Olympic Games. Károly was asked many times how he could do this, and he simply replied, "Why should I worry about the right hand I do not have? Let me see what I can do with the left hand I have." That was it. It was that simple. Are you focused too much on what you don't have instead of using what you have to the best of your abilities? Károly inspired me in so many ways. His story reminded me that I also laid in a coma and spent months recovering and rehabilitating at 10 years of age. I wrote with my right hand, but when it would shake, I had to learn how to write with my left hand. I was hidden away and out of sight in the hospital for months and many more months at home working on the farm with Dad because the jokes made about my mental limitations and slowness of speech made it easier to just hide away so no one could hurt me. Then I was introduced to skiing and a coach that said, "You should do this." I was inspired again. I took what my parents had taught me and what inspired me from the mentors, and over time, Károly became one of my 831 people that inspired me every day. New ideas were spawned. Okay, I live where there are no mountains, no ski hills, but how can I ski and learn on the flats? Oh, behind the horse, behind the truck, in the ditch, off the back of the haystack, on a ramp in the barn loft, on the seat of the tractor. Train using both hands, both directions, both sides. After all, you do have to learn how to turn left and right in ski racing, don't you? Not just left-handed or left turns. So train equally on both sides all the time. I may have a disability and be weird and odd to people, but like Károly, I will not worry about what I don't have and instead focus on what I do have. Today's quote, well, we're going to take Károly's statement and modify it slightly. Why should I worry about what I don't have? Let's see what I can do with what I do have. I had parents that I could inspire to move me to the mountains. I can prepare so when I get to the starting gate, I will never show up unprepared or not prepared enough and disqualify my performance before I ever leave the starting gate. I have to be ready for every start. I have to work to pay my way, but I will on purpose ask my dad to give me all the jobs that require physical work so I can train every chance I get. I will ask my dad to give me the tractor with no cab and no air conditioning so I can do pre-jumps on the seat of the tractor and train in a moving tractor. After all, the cab would stop me from jumping up and down. I will run and bike to and from the field every day. I will pump the gas into the diesel tractor by hand instead of using an electric pump. This is what I do have. I will run those race courses while driving the implements, rehearsing them in my head again and again, so I'm ready. Thank you, Károly Takács. You are one of my 831 people that inspired me from Hungary to live my best life. Who inspires you today? Who will you on purpose inspire because you did all you could do with what you have? Canada is a large landmass and we are spread all over the country. We are alone a lot of the time and we're even more alone because of COVID-19. But there has never been a better day to start to live your best life than today. How about you? Why don't you take what you have and live your best life today? Thanks for listening. I hope you will have grown and we will be both living our best life the next time we meet.